Hey everybody, it's Joe from the Strange Voyage Files, and I am doing an interesting video which was sparked from a conversation that we had at work, and it was what albums would you recommend to somebody who is not into a band? Now, this is a common, this has come back a million times, like on Facebook and whatnot, and groups and things like that. But I think there's two categories when you're looking at this. And they're the people that you're going to give your suggestion to. And the first category is, are they already into rock and metal and hard rock and whatnot? Do they like the genre? Are they at least a rock fan? Because in many cases, in my opinion, you're going to recommend a much different album than somebody who does not like rock or never listen to rock. If you got like a Justin Bieber or somebody like that, um, then yeah, it's gonna. I think it's gonna be in many cases a different album. So, as I go through this, and I'm doing this off the top of my head. I didn't prepare a list or anything, but I don't know if you can see over on the back. There's a little refrigerator. I'll take a picture of it. I have a little refrigerator in my bedroom for insulin. It's not beer or anything. I don't gave up drinking a long time ago, and I put stickers on there of bands. So I'm just gonna kind of keep on looking back at that as because I live in the classic metal era. Those classic bands: Ozzy, Sabbath, Iron Maiden, Dio, Kiss. Motley, Def Leppard, Judas Priest, things like Alice Cooper. So for me, that's where I live. Um, so I'm just going to kind of look back at those. All right, let's see. The first one, the best of the best, Black Sabbath. Now, what do you start somebody off with that is a rock fan? I'm immediately going to my favorite Sabbath album, Sabbath Bloody Sabbath. Um, I think if they're already a fan of rock, they're gonna and they adapt. They'll probably know Black Sabbath and have an idea of what to expect. I think Sabbath Bloody Sabbath is the way to go. You could go through the catalog. This is Everybody's gonna have a different opinion on this one. Now, if they're not a rock fan, Paranoid. Why? Because they're probably gonna know at least Iron Man and Paranoid, possibly War Pigs. If you see after Ozzy died, if you looked at like the singles charts and the album charts, Paranoid started charting pretty high and War Pigs were charting pretty high. So it shows that those are people that didn't listen, a lot of them didn't listen to Sabbath, didn't know about Sabbath. So I think Paranoid is the good one for somebody who's not a rock fan, but somebody who's definitely into this genre, or at least likes rock. Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath is the overall one. Now we got it, but here's this is strange because what about the Dio years? What about the Tony Martin years? Well, and Born Again and whatnot. I'm just gonna do Dio next because Dio's easy. I don't care if you're a rock fan or not. If you were going to do a Dio album, it's Heaven and Hell. Now, I would not put Heaven and Hell before those two Ozzy albums. My favorite, I think Heaven and Hell is a perfect album, but I always gravitate towards the Ozzy era. So I would never start somebody off in any way, shape, or form with Heaven and Hell. I know a lot of people would. I wouldn't say that's a bad idea. But for me, it would absolutely be Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, or Paranoid. But if we're doing just Dio, I don't care if you're a rock fan or not. Heaven and Hell is your album. All right, let's talk. Oh, God, I really would like to just split it up and say Blizzard of Ozband and Ozzy, but all right. So Blizzard of Ozband slash Ozzy solo career, we'll put them together. Um, Now, if again, if you're a fan of rock, if you're a fan of the genre, I'm still Blizzard of Oz is my number one. Diary of Madman is, of course, right next to it. I mean, this close, so they could be interchangeable. Blizzard is just a little bit better, in my mind. If you're not a rock fan, No More Tears, because you got to remember there are people that are, and again, I'm looking from it from a standpoint that, I like this Taylor Swift garbage, so you want the more radio friendly stuff, and that is absolutely going to be No More Tears. All right, Iron Maiden. This is difficult because my favorite Iron Maiden album is Power Slave, but I don't know if that would be the one that I would tell somebody who's a rock fan. Here's why. I love Back in the Village. I love Flash of the Blade. I love The Duelists. There was a long time I did not like The Duelists. I like Big Aura. Those songs, there are a lot of people that don't like those songs. So I don't know if that would be the album I would go to. And I can think of each album, like the big albums, Peace of Mind. Quest for Fire, a lot of people don't like. To Tame a Land. I'm not a big fan of To Tame a Land. And then, of course, on Number of the Beast, you have Gangland and Invaders. I will go with Number of the Beast, though. It's got the two big hits. And even to me, Gangland and Invaders are still good. But the rest of that album is 22 Acacia Avenue, Children of the Damned, Hallowed Be Thy Name. It's so unbelievably phenomenal. That would have to be the one. Now, I've always said when I've thought about this or had this discussion, for a non-rock fan, I always immediately went to Somewhere in Time because of the power of Wasted Years. But you know what? And yes, I love the album. A lot of people do too. For some people, parts of it really drag. If I'm going to try to get somebody who is not a fan of heavy metal into Iron Maiden, I'm starting them off with Seventh Son. It's got Can I Play with Madness, which is a little bit more radio friendly. The Evil Men That Men Do, Clairvoyant. I think these songs would grab somebody. I think Wasted Years would be the number one, but the other songs may not get somebody as much as that one. So I'm definitely going with Seventh Son of a Seventh Son if I was going to do this for Iron Maiden. All right. Dio. Same album for both. Last in Line. It's my favorite. I think it is the best Dio album. Also, my neighbor, I've told the story before, who was not into heavy metal, I played her the album. She said, my God, make a copy. This is awesome. These songs are great. And when she saw the cover, when she saw Murray, Satan, she's like, oh, I don't want this. But she loved the songs. And she was your stereotypical 80s preppy, oh, look at me. I'm the cheerleader. I'm the blah, blah. She was all that. She loved it until she saw the album cover. So Dio would be a straight last in line. I know a lot of people would go Holy Diver, especially for rock fans. I couldn't argue with you. Absolutely last in line all the way through for both of the categories. Motley Crue. You know what? I'm going to do, again, years ago, well, first off, for somebody who's a rock fan, Shout the Devil, without a doubt. And years ago, I would have said Dr. Feelgood. I just think that album really sucks now. And I don't think I'm alone with that. I just don't think that album has the appeal it had. I'm going Shout at the Devil for both. Whether you're a rock fan or you're just getting into rock, Shout at the Devil. It's a lot of songs. Too Young for the singles are great. Shout at the Devil is great. Red Hot. There's a lot of people just liked that album. So Shout at the Devil would be the one I would recommend for Motley Crue. Def Leppard, absolutely. If you're a rock fan, High and Dry. No doubt, wouldn't even be an argument. On Through the Night would be very, very close. You're not a rock fan, I would love to say Pyromania. But I'm going with Hysteria. I mean, guy, it's a no-brainer. If you are not a rock fan, Hysteria is the band you're going to get somebody to, or the album that you're going to get somebody to say, all right, yes, this is a really great album. I will listen to more of this band. You just know it's true. Judas Priest. I don't know. Hang on. I'm going with, I still think my favorite is Painkiller. Now, I'm bouncing between several, but I think if you're a rock fan, Painkiller. Um, I think you would appreciate that album. I think it is. I would say that's my favorite Priest album. I'm going with the easy one again, Turbo. I mean, if you're not into this music, Turbo it would be, it's the radio friendly. People who like pop and whatnot, they like Turbo Lover. Again, it was their Ultimate Sin. It was their Somewhere in Time. It was their Trash from Alice Cooper, which we're gonna get to that in a minute. So if you're not a rock fan, or a rock and metal fan, definitely Turbo. Talk about Alice Cooper. Absolutely. You are into if you are into rock and metal, I'm going between two. I'll go with Killer. Right, I'd say right now that's my favorite Alice Cooper album. There's a couple I don't like, and this is kind of crazy. I don't love every Alice Cooper album all the way through. I'm not saying that they're garbage songs. I don't think I love Alice Cooper. I'm not saying there's not a solid album. Some of those tracks get weak. Not bad, but weaker. But if you're a rock fan, Killer. If you're not a rock fan, yeah, I'm gonna go with Trash. Again, you had Poison, you had House of Fire. That album does have a lot of weak tracks on it, but for somebody to try to get into Alice Cooper, definitely Trash. Um, Kiss. This is one that's across the board. The first album. Whether you're a rock fan or you're not, I think that first album is so awesome that it would appeal to anybody who wants to get into the band Kiss. And it is by far my favorite Kiss album is the first album. I like Love Theme from Kiss. I like Kissin' Time. I don't care. That album for me is great all the way through. Who else? What do we got? What else we got? I mean, I know I'm forgetting 2000. All right, let's look back. Let's see. Who do we got? Who's on there? Oh, Metallica. If you're a rock fan, Ride the Lightning is my favorite one. And yes, I'm going to say it, guys. If you're not, it proved it, the Black Album. I mean, it already did that. So, I mean, you can't argue it. If you're not a rock fan, the Black Album is the album you would recommend. You know that it's true. God, I love... Oh, Van Halen. Rock fan, Fair Warning, without a doubt. Not a rock fan... Yeah, probably for unlawful carnal knowledge. Now, are we going to break this into two? All right, so if you're not a rock fan, 1984. Oh, you know what? Scratch for unlawful carnal knowledge. Forget I said that. Rock fan, Fair Warning. Not a rock fan, 1984. Absolutely. If you're going to throw Sammy in there, I do for unlawful carnal knowledge. I still think it's a great album. I'm not as big a fan of Sammy Hagar because I really have. I've seen he really does milk this Eddie thing, and I've said it before. I lost a lot of respect for Eddie in the last few years of his life for bashing on Michael Anthony, and I will waive. I know a lot of people hate Sammy, give Mike a lot of grief too. I don't care. I will always stand by Michael Anthony. And I lost a lot of respect for Eddie Van Halen because of how he treated Michael throughout the years. But, yeah, Fair Warning for a rocker, 1984 if you're not, and if we're going to talk Sammy, for unlawful carnal knowledge. It's still a good album. What else we got? Let's see. We did Judas Priest, we did Kiss. Aerosmith. Aerosmith is almost funny because you want to switch between 70s and 80s. But, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do the one for both. Pump for both. I mean, yeah, I love Toys in the Attic. But I'm going to go, yeah, Pump would be both. And again, I mean, so many hit singles on that album that a lot of people who weren't Aerosmith fans became Aerosmith fans. See, and I got I'm looking at my stickers again. I have like Testament on there, and I have the big three: um, Exodus, Overkill, and Testament. I didn't find. I lost them. My thrash phase was in the late '80s, more towards the '90s, and just for a few years, and then I really lost interest in all of them. Exodus. I love Fabulous Disaster. I know besides Toxic Waltz, I know a lot of people don't like that one. I like that album all the way through. A lot of people don't like Fabulous Disaster. I do, and that would be mine. Overkill, Years of Decay, without a doubt, absolutely without a doubt, and for both. And these are for both. So Exodus and Overkill for both. Testament, it's a dark horse album, but I love it. Souls of Black, again for both. Yeah, absolutely. For those three bands, it was whether you're a rocker or not. What else we got? God, my blind as a bat. We did it. Rat, I got Rat on there too. Man, I like Invasion of Your Privacy. So I'd probably say Out of the Cellar or Invasion of Your Privacy if you're a rock fan, and then Out of the Cellar if you're not. But I could easily do Out of the Cellar for both. But I really like Invasion of Your Privacy. So Invasion of Your Privacy if you are a rock fan, and then Out of the Cellar for not. I got Annihilator and Halloween up there. But I get, you know what? Yeah. Annihilator, the first album, in either way. Absolutely either way. Halloween, it's the same thing. Keeper 2. Whether you're a rock fan or not, I would say Keeper 2 for either one. Let's see. Well, is there anything else on my fridge? Oh, Megadeth. The guy Ralph that I always talk about he always says Megadeth. So I just do that now because I've heard him do it so many times. Rock fan, Rust and Peace, Rock fan, Peace Sells. Non-rock fan, even though it's not one of my favorite albums, Countdown to Extinction. Again, it had the big hits. So, and congratulations, Dave. You finally got your number one album. Because man, did it drive him nuts that that Countdown to Extinction only went to number 2. And I think that's it. Oh, Rainbow. Yeah, Rainbow's on there too. Rainbow Rising either way. Yeah. Rock fan or not, Rainbow Rising. Okay, I'm sure I missed quite a few. Whatever. I did get this in the mail. Just got this. Again, my buddy Ralph. Check him out. The Almost Human. His channel is Almost Human. I asked him. I did a donation for him, talking about Annihilator, and he said one of his favorite albums was this kind of reunion album from Annihilator. Criteria for a Black Widow. I never heard this, and I just got it in the mail, so I'm really looking forward to it. But Randy saw him. Let me know what you think. Like, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and I will see ya.